Welcome to a best of series. Festool gave me the week off, so I'm chilling. And guess what? There's a link below that Chris has dropped, and it's for our biggest limited edition giveaway ever. It's for US and Canada residents only, so check it out. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna think about people out there who've just bought their first Domino, and they go, you get home, you open the owner's manual, you go, and you go, what's next? What are the basics I need to know about the Domino? And we call it, and I'm gonna call them out, and I'm gonna go step by step through this. We call it the 4 rules or the 4 laws of the Domino. The trainers years ago, we did all our trainings based off of this to get people up to speed on the Domino. There's 4 laws: working off the consistent face of the piece you're working with the plate, working off or above the plane of the MFT3 table or your workbench, plunging in line, and 4, plunging at a steady rate. So if you hear chatter, stop, slow down, okay? So as I go through this, I'm gonna do a few different joints that are very popular to make with the Domino. One of the ones we get all the time, or we get people that, as a trainer, we have to troubleshoot, is I want to make a cabinet, okay? So let's just look at this, and I'll label it out. This will help you with those 4 things. This is the side of my cabinet. This right here is the bottom, or the top. It goes in between the sides, okay? So what I like to do is create a reference point right here. Okay, just like this. I'm just going to make a mark, okay? It's not where I'm going to lay the Domino to make a mortise. I can if I want, but what this allows me to do is reference the machine properly on the right face. That's rule number 1. Mark your wood and consistently reference the Domino appropriately on the referenced face. Okay, hopefully I said that. So in doing this, on this piece, I'm going to go horizontal, and this one I'm going to plunge vertical. So I've marked my pieces right here. Okay, so let's talk about the Domino I'm going to use. I'm going to use a 5 by 30 Domino, 5 being the thickness, 30 being the length. Okay, so the glue line is the thickness, that first number. Okay, being 5. So when I do this, I need to check, and it's determined. The thickness of the Domino is determined on what? The diameter of the cutter. So I'm going to take this $300 wrench, okay, and Christine loves this. I'm going to take, I can't do that enough, can I, Minnie?
No, you can't.
Okay, so I check to see if this is a 5mm cutter, and it is, because I could tell by the slight taper there. We have different cutters for the 500, okay? We have 5, 6, 8, 10, and 4. All right, to change the bit, there's a little arbor lock right here. I press it in, it finds a through hole in the arbor shaft, and I just spin it off. One of the things I can teach you today is when you put the cutter back on, don't over torque it. Okay, it'll come up to torque, or it'll come, if you over torque it, it could seize up every once in a while. It's a little troublesome, so just snug it a little. Okay, I'm gonna put it back on. We're basic ready to rock and roll. Let's define the machine. Okay, this part here, I always label it right here, is called the plate, and this square part is known as the base. These are your reference points on the Domino to reference the lines that I've made here and here. Okay, now I'm going to be plunging vertically, so automatically in my brain, I want to create a larger platform. So I use what is known as the support bracket. And one of the things I can teach you about the support bracket is it fits in these 2 tapped holes right here with these screws right here, or these knobs. Anytime you're putting something on a Domino machine, make sure it's on a flat surface like this, so it references properly to the fence. And I'm just going to screw these in. Takes a little bit of time because they're anchored really well. Okay, so there you go, just like that. Okay, so I know where I'm going to reference the plate of my Domino here in a vertical position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and let's do the horizontal part first. Okay, let's set it up. Now, did you notice that when I was doing the adjustments on here, like changing a bit, I didn't have my plug-it cord in. Always do that. Don't start fiddle-faddling with everything when you have electricity to your tool. Okay, make sure it's unplugged. All right, so I got that set up, and let's get some clamps on here. I like to put 2 clamps at all times on pieces like this, because if I use 1 clamp, it becomes a pivot point. I think I'm actually adding a lot more to this domino video than the original one. Now, let's do a little bit of math. Minnie, I need a little help here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, what's half of 30?
15.
Woo! She's good at metric. Okay, so let's talk about PD, which I call plunge depth. You have all these numbers right here. I take this blue tab, I fold it forward, and I can bring it up and set it at 15. Now I will plunge precisely 15 millimeters at the top of the arc, or the apex of the arc. I'm going to do tight and tight. Now, remember how I did this quick reference piece right here? Okay, I'm going to use that, okay, visually, because I'll do that in the loose setting. Okay, so hear me out on this. This is a cabinet, so I'm going to go like this. Oh, time out. Woo! Always, there's one more increment that I have to cover. This is 20 millimeter ply. It's actually 18, but we just default on 20. And I have to set the height of the plate. So hopefully you can get this, Chris. Come over here. I think this is a lot better than the iPhones. Okay, good. So we're gonna loosen this lever here, pull it up, and whatever goes in that little window right there is what? Is 20, so that's the thickness of my material. So I'm gonna start out like this, and let's see if I've got this covered. You know what? I'm going to take this a step further today. There's my side. I'm going to be plunging vertical. Okay, let's do this reference again. And this is going to be my starting point right here. So I'm going to mark my starting point. We could actually call it the front of the cabinet. This is the front. Okay, I'm going to do this one tight and this one loose, and we'll do this one loose as well. So you can understand, come up here, Chris, and get this. You can understand this. The front is where I want it tight, because that's probably where I have my edge banding, and I want that while I'm assembling to be perfect. So, woo! Let's get this back in here like this. And now, once I label everything, remember, once you label things, and if you have 50 pieces to join, the only thing you have to do is label once, and you're good to go. You don't have to think about it, and the operation goes so much smoother. So this one I'm going to do tight. I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to reference this flap right here. You see it? On here, and then I'll use the flap on here, but in a loose setting. And then I'll do this loose. Okay? So, you can see that Chris, come in here. You can see visually from the top, see that triangle? I'm splitting it. I know I've referenced it just perfect. Okay, see how I'm working off the table? Okay, but look how I plunge. My pressure's right here. Okay, and I plunge from the back of the machine like this at a steady rate. Then, while the machine is running, I will switch it to that middle setting, and I'll use, come in here, Chris, the cursor right there, okay? Plunging at a steady rate. And then, from the back, I'll use the other flap. You can see it registered with this triangle again right there. Okay, now, let's explain why. Okay. First and foremost, I've marked the boards. This is the bottom, that's the inside. So if I had referenced and not marked and used the inside, and I'm sure there's people are going to be nodding out there, you've gotten a joint like this with a millimeter offset. If you mark your boards properly, you won't get that. Okay, so that's why on the first one, work off the registered face. Number 2, work off the table. Remember I told you we referenced 20 millimeter with the plate? Okay. If I take this and move it off so you can see it, there is a little offset right there. Okay? That little offset will what? Make sure your boards don't come in properly like this. So always, always, always make sure, I'm just gonna re-engage this properly on the flat. Always work off the table or above the plane of the table so the base does not rest on the table. Follow? Okay, because I've seen that cause a myriad of problems. Okay, so now we're gonna plunge vertically. Now I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go in the right pattern that I did before. I'm gonna be plunging vertically. Here's some great tips that I have learned over the years. When I'm plunging vertically, okay, I'm gonna grab that flap, okay, and I'm gonna hold it in tension right here. Chris, come over here so we can see this. See this? I used to teach people, go like this to turn it on. But watch, if I do it like that, sometimes it would go into the machine. So Greg Polini taught me this. If I just take it and I pinch it on, it won't plunge forward. So I'm gonna do that tight. And what's nice about this is because I've marked my boards, I know, okay, where that face is. I'm gonna look right down here. See that, Chris? Just like that. Okay, hopefully you can see it. And I'm gonna use my cursor, but I'm also always turn this knob while the machine is running. I'll plunge in the vertical position. And from here, I'm gonna take it like this. Okay? So I'm just gonna set that down. And someone may ask, why don't you just do them all tight? Well, the problem is if this is a long run, guess what? You have to have somebody help you put it down at a perfect 90 degrees. Where here in assembly, I have a little wiggle room. And I could take that and look, see that right there? That is perfect glue line. Now, the fourth reason is if I plunge too quick, there's a climb cut on the cutter. And what happens is I'll hear this from people at trade shows. Oh, my tendons are shrinking. No, they're not. You're plunging too quick because what's happening is that climb cut's lifting the cutter in there. So you should always have a tight fit like that. Look at this, all tight. It's just that here we have a little lateral tolerance. So when we're assembling, I'll find that front one. And then those will fall right in place. That's perfectly flush. That's perfectly flush. So say that has the edge banding. Now, when I go to assemble or glue or screw this together, guess what? There won't be any movement and that will always stay aligned. So daggone perfect. See that? Whoop, 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 whoop. There it is. Okay. So hopefully the third one I want to go back to is plunging in line. I used to get this all the time, and I was like scratching my head to the point where I lost all my hair. Okay? I was getting, whoa, keep that right there. I was getting boards like this, look, coming together like this. And I swear I was doing everything right, and then all of a sudden, I'd get a few like this together, but then all of a sudden I would get them like this. I was going, what am I doing? And what I was doing was this. I was taking these boards when I was using it, okay, and I was grabbing onto this. So I always look for shadow lines here, okay, and here. I was doing this. I was holding it like this, and you'll see how that opens up? Christine, you can see that on the camera? Okay, or more so, I was doing this to compensate. Look, see that? So I learned the best way is the only pressure is right here. Let the machine do its job. It's held in tension when I hold this handle here on the face, and when I plunge in line like that, I don't put any tension up or down. So that's why we always say plunge in line. Okay, so the next one I'm gonna do is this, okay? Check this out. What am I gonna do? Mark the face, my reference face. So just like this, I'm gonna mark the face like this. I'm gonna do a miter joint. Hey Chris, did I ever show you a picture of my ex? Oh. Never mind, okay. No. Christine, you smiled, come on. Well, never mind, okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, nothing but the best for you guys. I worked on that one all night long at the Comedy Store. Come on. Give me a little break here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and pretty simple, I'm going to turn it back to the tight setting. And when you're doing miters, this is what is known as long point, and that's the short point. I always will reference the flap in the tight setting, what? From that long point. Now, if I put too much pressure, it'll rock like this. So what I do is I start it up, I grab that long point, and I put my thumb like that, and I plunge in line, just like that, and you'll see that's a tight, right, like that. Whew. Someone once said, I don't like it that the tenons are so tight on the Domino. I go, yeah, it's a real drag that you get actually a real good woodworking joint with the Domino, huh? Growing up and hand cutting mortises and chopping them out and then hand cutting tenons, this sounds really weird, but that's a joint to die for. It's absolutely perfect. And now I'll do the other one with the opposing flap. Hey, when you get really good at this, you can do it on one foot. So some of this is new from the first one. Okay, so when you put this together, look, the one thing you want with a miter is what? You want that to be perfectly flat. You want the long point to line up. But also, the caveat, the really cool thing about this, the huge takeaway, is I can use a right angle clamp on there because both of them are tight from the long point. If it was a wide miter, I just scribe a quick witness mark and then put a loose setting in there. But from the long point, the first one should always be tight. That way there you can get right angle clamps on there and you can have a perfect joint. Every single time, just set that anywhere. Okay, whew, we're doing good. So here's one for you. I think I did this in the first one too. I want to create a fixed shelf in the middle of a cabinet. Okay, I don't want to have to set up a dado blade. Okay, those can be a royal pain in the patoot. What I'll do is I'll just do this real quick. I'm just going to scribe a line here at the top of my shelf. And this is my side. Okay, I'll write T here for top. This is the top, and this is my shelf. Okay, see how I labeled everything? Now, this is a great joint to do. And but what I like to do is just keep things wicked easy. I'm actually going to take the support bracket off, even though I'm going to be plunging vertically. All right, okay. I'll just take it like this, make sure. And you know what? I'm going to increase the base a little bit so I have a large place to set this vertically. And I always remember this. I'm going to take my top and set it to the top. So I always say top to top, and I'm going to lay it out like this. Let's get a good view of this. Bring it right in. So there's my top. Okay, I guess my layout line isn't the greatest. I'll just redo that so it looks good. Okay, so I have it like that. It's even here, and I'm just going to take this, because this is an increment of reference on the Domino that everybody should know. Remember I said this square part was the base? Okay, the distance from the base to the center of the cutter is 10 millimeter. And even right here, see how it's milled right here and right here? That's also a reference point for 10 millimeter. But I like to use it like this. I'm going to take it like this. I guess it moved when I clamped a little. See that? It's 10 millimeters from there to center. This is 20 millimeter. So I'm going to take it. I'm plunging 15. I'll take it like this. Remember, you get good at this, you can do it on one foot. Okay, good. Still no? Still no? Okay. Minnie, you're not laughing today. You're busy?
I am.
A lot of people on the line today?
A lot of people on the line today.
All right. I wonder how many people can have show up for episode 200. Okay, so there's my top. There's my top. I'm going to bring it right on in. Look at that. Top of the shelf, fixed base. And as I always say, we get it down to a T. Hey, Minnie laughed.
There you go.
Wait a minute, wait. Christine?
Yeah.
T, look, T. Okay, good. Okay, good. We're making joints over here. Throughout the year, some limited edition items. Okay? The first one we'll talk about today, and we'll do some stuff with it. We'll put some pieces and parts together. But check out the Sustainer. Okay? That alone, in a year or two, will be worth about $8,000. Check it out. Look, it says 100 on there. Highly collectible. Hey, guess what it is? It's limited edition. Check out the T-lock. It says 100. But what do you get inside of it? The values never end. You get a plug-it cord. Okay? You get, look at this. Check it out. I just found this in there. You get this little thing that shows what a domino connector is. Okay, that's wicked cool. Okay. You get the cross stops. I'll show you how to use those today. I'll give you some great insights on that. You get a trim stop. I'll show you how to use that. You get a Domino 500. Okay, and a support bracket. Guess what that does, Chris?
Support.
It supports, that's right, and I'll show you how to use that. And you get this wrench, and don't lose it, it's a value of $300. Okay, good. Okay, so let's step over here. Let me show you how all those accessories work. All right, now, you probably have been watching Festool Live, if you're watching now, for a while. I've covered all of this. But every time I do something and I repeat something, people go, oh, that's a great idea, Sedge. Listen, I've covered this before. I'll tell you that again. But you don't pick everything up. So I wanted to think this through and go, let me just go through all those accessories so you know how to use them. Now, over the years, people would come into trainings here and would go, oh, that's what those pieces and parts are for inside that Domino set. The cross stops and the trim stop. I'm going to show you how to use that and especially the support bracket. Okay, so this is the trim stop. All right. It has independently adjustable fences right here. Okay, and what this does is this creates a cradle when you're working on narrow stock. But it also speeds up operations because you set it up once and say you got a bunch of spindles to run and a bunch of rails. This thing makes it wicked quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so when we look at the Domino, okay, I'm just going to bring it down here. This is called the plate, and this is called the base. Now, right now, we're going to work off the plate. Okay, so where this goes, and you're going to see these two little tabs right here. You get those? Those coming through, Christy? Okay, Christine? Okay, see how it goes? You see that arc emulates the arc of the plate? I'll just slide that on, and there's two little notches here. And I'm just going to put that in there like that. And this one in here kind of like this. Just like this, and I'm going to lock it in. Okay, so we have it set up. Now, what I did earlier, just to speed up this process, is I scribed a center line. This is 50 millimeter stock. Minnie,
Yo,
what's half of 50?
25 like me.
Ooh, you behave. You're really good at Miss Metric. You're really good, Miss Metric. Okay. So, what are you laughing at? Come on. Okay, watch. On the Domino, there's several scribed center lines. Check this out. See the point of that center triangle? That is right there. That's the center line. You have a center line here. And I don't think you can see this on here, but there's a etched center line right here on the base. So the way I'm going to set this up is I'm just going to take this, lock it in at 20. Okay. See how these are independently adjustable? I'll take it like this, and bring it right to that center line, and I'll bring these two in like this and like this. But I always verify it. When I want it to be exactly in the center, I'll come here, and if you can come in here, unit, and see this. See this right here? You have these little lines here. There's a little scale here. I'm going to lock that in there, and you see how that's 25 and 25? I'll bring it in, and I am good to go, and it nestles in there absolutely perfect. So I know when I run this, I'm going to put a 5mm tenon right in the middle. Okay, next. I've coached you over the years. Make sure you mark everything, and I'll show you why. I'm going to work off the face. That's one of the most important things. That's why I call it the #1 rule, is mark your boards, and I always put an X on there. Hey, Chris, I ever show you a picture of my X? Never mind. Okay.
I knew it was coming.
Look at Christy didn't even laugh at that.
How many times have I heard it?
Oh, never mind. Hey, the room's getting old here. Okay, let me get a clamp right here. All right, so let's set this up. I have it set. Okay, Christine, I'm gonna do it because you asked me to earlier. Where is it? I'm gonna check to see if I have a 5mm bit installed. Hang on. She loves that. I promised her I'd do it. Okay, good. Okay, so I got a 5mm bit in there. Now, Minnie, what's half of 30?
15.
Woo! Okay, because I'm going to use a 5x30 domino. All right, so I'm going to set my plunge depth at 15. And this is roughly 20mm. It doesn't have to be exactly in the center. But this is, I think I milled this at 20. This is 20mm thick. So I'm going to set my plate height right here at 20. See that? That's the thickness that's in that window. I'm just going to verify I'm at 90. I am ready to go. So first thing I'm going to do is put my dust extraction on. Come in here. Get my plug it. Don't forget, it's a full quarter turn. Now, I'm going to take this and put it up against here. This is a stop, right? It's a dog. It's a low profile stop. Now, see how I'm working off the table? That base is not hitting the table whatsoever. And you notice how I'm going to plunge. I'm going to plunge from the back of the machine to ensure I'm plunging in line. Okay? Now I'm going to turn this off so you understand this. You see how I mark the boards? What happens is if you have a boatload of these spindles, right? Guess what happens? You get confused. See the X right here? Don't take it and do this now. Always work off the face because this will be tilted ever so slightly. So what I do is, see the cut right here? It's perfect. I just do this and I helicopter it around like this. And I'll do a couple of these spindles. You see how quick this work is? Okay, when you get good at this, make sure you get this unit. You can do it on one foot. Good. Let's do another one. I'm feeling randy today. Think about doing this with any other mortising machine. The problem is you got to take your wood, move it here, move it there, clamp it down, do this. Here, I just did 3 spindles, lickety-split. Look at that. Look at that. They're absolutely perfect, every one. Let me get a few more of these dominoes. Think about how much time this would save you from some of those traditional mortising things you have in your shop, like a hollow chisel mortiser or even using chisels. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. So let's do the rail here. Okay, so as I cover this through the rest of the process here, I think you all know, I've mentioned this before, this is the plate and this is the base. The distance from the base to the center of the bit is 10 millimeters. So I want a domino right here and right here. And to speed it up this morning, I measured 10 millimeters back. So this is where I tell everybody, don't overthink this, because Chris has a tendency of overanalyzing everything. Okay, so when I put this on here, look, come in here, unit. This is where I want my domino. If I measured that 10 millimeters back, I can just take it to this line, and then I'm going to turn it on and plunge. And then I'm going to do the next one. So when you do this, look how perfect that is. See that? Okay, a drum roll, please. What's today, Minnie?
Friday.
So this is easy as pie?
Oh.
No. Wait for it.
Very good.
Wait for it. No? Okay.
That was very good.
So that comes in your 100th anniversary Domino 500. That's the trim stop. Now let's go over here to these two pieces, and these are known as the cross stop. Okay, it can be very confusing. Let me get my domino over here. I told Robert I wouldn't use that one. Now I'm going to say this, everybody here in North America. Okay, if you don't have a domino, you'd want to go get one of these because there's a killer savings on it, but also I think it's released March 26th. Okay. I don't think we have any left here. They all went out to the dealers.
Yep.
So this is going to be quite the. You need to act quick if you want one of these. How's that? That was pretty good, huh? Not bad. I might do this for a living someday, unit. You just pay attention. Okay, next. This is one that I've seen so many people, they came to training and go, I never understood those. It's pretty easy. I'm going to put these two boards together. Look. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to mark the face that I'm going to be working off. Okay, and I'm going to go in the direction. So somebody came up to me one time, and I was doing this too myself. I think I only need one. No, you need both of them. So if we look really close, you're going to notice the scale right here. And let's see, 150, if I set that, that's roughly 6 inches apart, because 25 millimeters is roughly 1 inch. Somebody's out there already correcting me, it's 25.4, whatever, but it gets you close enough for government work. Okay, and you see this little point right here? That will go into the mortise. Okay, and this will allow me to index it. The first one I'm going to index is with these flaps right here, and that brings me 37 millimeters in from the front edge. Okay, so when I put these on, I have this one set at 150 and this at 150. So you're going to see a little dovetail right here. Okay, of course that's going front. You don't want to put it on the other way, right? And the other thing I'm going to check really quick, okay, is right here. And Chris, hopefully we can get this. You see how this says DF500 and this says DF700? I can take this and reverse it because on the 700, that's the larger domino, the distance from the base to the center of the bit is 15 millimeters. Okay, so these can work on both machines. So when you put that on, there's a little dovetail here, a little pin, that's your tail. You put it in here and you lock it back like that. And I'll put the other one, make sure that's set at 150. Okay, and there we go. Hence the cross stop. Hey Mo! Okay, so let's do the first piece. Just like this. I'll set this one aside. Let's lock her in. Remember, work off the table or above the plane of the work surface. So you don't use the base, you're using the plate. The plate sits perfectly on top of this material. So when I work this, and there's a lot in this exercise to comprehend. And when I say that, okay, you'll see, because this is the mistake I always used to make when I first started with the domino. Okay, I got everything set. I'm going to use a 5mm bit. It's the same settings. But you see this right here? I'm going to do the tight setting, and I'm actually going to use this flap. So when I come in here, and unit, make sure you get this from up top. Remember I told you about that first triangle? Let's look at this triangle right here. See how that shows perfectly in the center? Does that come through, Christine?
Which triangle?
This triangle right here.
Yes.
Okay, that allows you to shoulder it properly. So when I take that in and rotate it, watch. So the next one, while it's running, I'm going to switch. And you see how I take that and put it in, and then I shoulder it. And if you really think about this, I can go right down the line. I don't have to eyeball it. I let the precision of the machine work its magic. And I can put boards together effortless. Okay, so I use this one, right? Now, this is why I mark the boards. Let's set that over there. Now, I have to go in this direction. That's why you have that other cross stop on there. That's the one that had me in the beginning scratching my head. I just didn't understand it. Now, here's the big mistake that I always used to make. What happens on this board, it's kind of like what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. Kind of like that. What happens on this board, see the sequence? Tight, loose, 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 loose. Okay, so I have to what? Switch the machine back. See that? While it's running. Then I can grab that flap. You'll see the other triangle there. Then I'll switch it and work my way down. And when you get really good at this, you can do it on one foot. Okay. Let's get some dominoes in there. See how there's no play side to side? This confuses a little bit of people, a little bit on people. See how I still have my glue line there, but I have 3mm on each side. That center notch for lateral tolerance gives you an additional 6mm. Okay, but the key to it is I still have my long grain to long grain adhesion on top of the domino. And there we go, and there we go. Okay, now if you use the third setting, which I never use, I use it on really rare occasions. I've had an application where I had to use it. Okay, the reason we do this and make it with a little bit of wiggle room in there, if I had done these all tight, okay, they would have gone together on both sides perfectly because of the precision of the machine. But you're in your shop by yourself and you're assembling, it's tough to get it down there. So this is why you always find that first one and then the rest come right together. Picture perfect. But look at that. Here's the whole thing. Look, perfectly even here. Look at this. And that is dead flat across. Okay, a little bit of glue, a couple of clamps, absolutely perfect. Okay, next, every time I'm going to plunge vertical, or 90% of the time I'm plunging vertical with the domino, I'm putting on a support bracket, and I'll show you how that goes on. I am going to do this. I'll call this a cabinet, building a cabinet, and this is just something really simple I do. Because you know how I mark the faces? Okay, I'll do this. I'll make a little triangle or I'll just make a mark. Because I know that's what I need to line up. And I know this is where my plate's going to go, and my plate's going to go here when I plunge vertical. So I also do this. I go horizontal, and here I go vertical. You've seen me do this because it's the exact same joint I've done in videos when I do what? The connectors. Okay. Did that come through pretty cool? Hey, Dirk, you on? It's my buddy. So this is what we're trying to achieve. And I'll show you how to do that. See how I made my mark there with a line? You want it perfectly flush. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me. And it'll happen tomorrow when I'm doing a demo on this. People go, Sedge, I'm trying to do a butt joint for a cabinet. Come in here, Chris. And they get this, a little offset. It's because they didn't mark their boards and they haven't placed the plate where they need to place the plate. Follow me on this. Let's do this one first, and then we'll, oh boy, that felt good. And then we'll do this one. Yeah, this never gets old. I have only done this a billion times. I love doing this. This is such an amazing machine. It really is. And I'm not just saying that because I work for Festool. It's just so cool. Oh, God. So when you put anything on here, you saw me do it with the cross stops. You remember the cross stops? I needed a flat surface to put it in the dovetail. Okay, here, I want the flat surface here. On the bottom, you have these two threads right here, and you have these screws. Where it goes is right in there, and it taps in. But don't attempt to put this on like this, okay? You won't seat it properly. It has to have a good reference to put on, okay? And boy, I have seen people put this on skewed and have horrible results with it. So make sure you tap it in absolutely dead flat. I put a little pressure here to get it just right. Okay, so we're gonna do the horizontal. We got it all set up. Let's do the 20. Okay, I'm gonna push this back a little so unit can get in here and get a good shot of this. Let me do this. Oh, okay. Now, there's certain things I say throughout all the Festool lives. And it's because I remember my friend Lester who once told me, can you show that to every class? Okay? When you put a plug-it cord on a tool, make sure when you put it in, just don't put it in, make sure you take it and take it a quarter turn that way. That way there it locks in. Cool. All right, so what am I doing first? Oh, I'm gonna turn it on, okay? And I'm going to use the flap. Okay, good. Next, I'm going to plunge vertical here. And there's a lot to show you on this. This has evolved over the years. All right. Okay, so when I put this on here, all right, this has a little bit of flexion in it. So what I like to do is hold it right here. Come here, Chris, so you can see it. I put pressure right here. My plate is on this little edge here, 3/4 edge. So I put a little pressure here like this. Now, here's something I learned from a friend of mine, Greg Pelini. I used to go like this and turn it on. And sometimes, as I turn it on, it would plunge into the... Don't do that. What I like to coach people on is take it, don't put your fingers all the way in, just take it right here and pinch it on so it doesn't plunge into your work. When I first started using the Domino, I'll never forget, I was like getting used to the machine, like doing miters, doing bevels, doing butt joints like this. And every time I did it, because I was new to this machine, I would put it together. And as I put it together, I'd go, phew, it worked again. Okay, and look at that. That's absolutely perfect. That makes a phenomenal cabinet. Hey, listen, if you need to put one in the middle, you can use the cross stops. Just come over the same way. Make sure they're adjusted easy, and it'll get you right in the center. Or you can use your eyes with the cursor right here in the middle and put a little wiggle room in there. It's just an incredible system. And boy, I might have to get one because of this new Sustainer. Another one. I just think this is wicked cool.